Okay, there's been all sorts of tax planning increases for next year and for the future. Well, are we at least allowed to contribute more to our tax sheltered accounts? I've got your first look at the 2022 contribution limits coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, yeah, there's been all sorts of tax law increases, potential tax increases coming. And so tax shelters and your strategy for maximizing those tax shelters that are available to you, it's critically important. So can you contribute more or less or the same? What are they doing with those contribution limits? You know, it wasn't too long ago when they were actually talking about really expanding these contribution limits. I think under the Trump administration, they were talking about doubling these contribution limits for HSAs and some others, and that's gone. Like that seems like an eternity. It was a different world back then. Now, apparently, there is still the Secure Act 2.0 that could get some traction and would allow for some expanded or a new catch-up contribution once you turn age, I believe it's 62, 63, and 64, just for that small window, as if we needed more confusion within the tax code. But I digress. So. All right, what are the contribution limits for tax sheltered accounts, 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, SEP IRAs, HSAs, all that sort of stuff? What are those contribution limits for 2022? Here you go. All right, so take a look at these changes. We've got the 2021 limit compared to the 2022 limit. What that change is, not a lot of change, unfortunately. You can look at 401k, 403b contributions for employees. Of course, they share that same limit. That's always been the case. The catch-up, a 6,500, that's been the case as well. Okay, 457s also share that same contribution limit. IRAs, Roth IRAs, now they share the same contribution limit as well. Simple IRAs, slight change there. HSA, there's always a $50 change per for an individual, for a single individual. A family plan then gets a $100 increase. So digest that. Take it all in. Not a bunch of changes. What are your takeaways? Let me tell you mine. The first thing that stands out to me is that total contribution limit to all 401ks, 403bs, that sort of thing. That total contribution limit, you can see that's got the biggest increase to it of $3,000. Now, to me, why does this stand out? Number one, it's the biggest number increase, but number two, this is exactly the folks that are being targeted in these new $3.5 trillion spending plan, those new taxes that are being proposed. They're trying to target folks that are kind of super contributors, okay, that are contributing, that have contributed a lot over their lifetime and have invested well, or that are maximizing or looking for other ways to contribute. The mega backdoor Roth is what I'm talking about. So the fact that the IRS limits already are giving the biggest increase to those folks that are doing maximum total contributions well above that pre-tax limit or Roth limit. To me, that's surprising. That stands out to me, number one. The other thing that stands out is your number one wealth building tool is your 401k or 403b. It's your workplace retirement plan. So to me, I'm excited that they're at least giving you an extra $1,000 that you can contribute to that, moving that limit of $19,500 to $20,500. Listen, even though they're keeping the catch-up contribution the same at $6,500, fine, they make the total contribution amount a round number if that's the case. I'm good with that. I like that we're getting an extra $1,000 that you can contribute to your 401k or your 403b, an extra $500 to those of you that have a simple IRA. I'm good with that. I like that they've increased that. So to me, the big disappointment then is that there's no increase to the amount that you can contribute to an IRA or a Roth IRA. I mean, that to me stands out. One of my colleagues and friends here on our team, Ben Chambers, even said, see, look, this is evidence. They're targeting the Roth IRA. And I don't know, that's a little bit of a stretch, Ben. But it's disappointing. It was disappointing to all of us here that they're not going to increase your IRA and Roth IRA contribution limits. Those are staying the same at $6,000 for every everyone, and you can do an extra $1,000 if you're age 50 or older. Of course, that's all got to be. You've got to have at least enough earnings. You got to be eligible for those. But those are the contribution limits. Now, why is that such a disappointment? Take a look at this chart here, going back and looking at the history of those IRA or Roth IRA contribution limits. You can see here we've been stuck at $6,000 for several years now. This is going to be, what, 4 years now that we've been stuck there. And if you say, hey, listen, settle down, wise money guy. I mean, this is, we were stuck at $5,500 for 6 years. Why is it such a big deal that we're stuck here at $6,000 again? Well, during the time we were stuck at $5,500, what was inflation? What was happening to wages? There was no inflation. There was very little wage growth. What have we seen over the past 18 months? Enormous inflation, the most in 3 decades, and wage growth significantly piling up. And my guess is likely more because we have more job openings than we even have unemployed people. And so my guess is that's going to put pressure on wages. So why not increase your IRA and Roth IRA contribution limit, especially as you're going to mandate. You're going to mandate, or at least the proposal is to mandate employers with 100 or more employees to have a retirement plan available, because we care so much about those folks that don't have a retirement plan available to them or that are underprepared for retirement. If that's really the case, then you would have increased the IRA and Roth IRA contribution limits. You can see how I feel about this. That's disappointing to me. But listen, these are the rules. We can bark about it as much as we want on YouTube or in the comments. That's fine, but these are the rules. Let's play within them. Work with your CFP to see which of these tax shelters you should be utilizing. That, to me, that is one of the biggest priorities in working with the CFP on your comprehensive financial plan. What's your tax shelter strategy? Using 529 plans, using HSA, using Roth, you're using 401k, you're trying to do the mega backdoor Roth, you're trying to do backdoor Roth while those still exist. What's your strategy? And then making sure that strategy fits within all 6 areas of your financial plan. That's the job of your CFP. So if your CFP is helping you with that, fantastic. Work with them on these new contribution limits, see what adjustments you need to make. If you're not getting that level of planning and attention from your CFP, or you don't have one on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.